Hey guys, what's going on? This is Cheney 180 and
The Fallen Fed. Hey guys, what's up?
And I am playing with myself.
you're listening to another episode of They're Not Dolls.
Episode 208.
With the one and only Jerry Macaluso coming back for part 2, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on with us again, Jerry.
Yeah, no, thanks for kicking it up an extra hour earlier. That helps us East Coast people.
Yes, that seems to be the theme. A lot of our listeners are excited because they get to tune in an hour earlier, and we're not keeping you up through the wee hours of the night. So I think it works out for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
All right.
Jerry, we've made this into the new show start time too. So that's it.
Oh, really?
You did it. You changed it for everyone.
You changed the game, my friend.
It does seem to be, a little more palatable for half the country.
Yeah. Everyone's already complaining that they can't see Adam.
It's okay. There's nothing to be seen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's going to be left out for now, I guess.
Or you could leave me out and I could just be the voice.
No, trust me, it's okay. I can be unseen.
You're prettier.
It's I should get in trouble because my shirt came off in the last episode, and yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, we got a little wild and crazy on that last episode.
If you guys need to know, he is in timeout right now, but he's still here for the show.
Yes.
But he's definitely in timeout.
So before we get started, Ernie.
Yes.
How are our chat amigos doing?
Man, I hope everybody's doing all right. It is a Thursday night. What a day it's been for news. Lots of stuff going on this week. We got this part 2 episode, which I know so many people are very excited about, which is great. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here coming up. But first, let's say hello to everybody. If you're new during the show, you need to check in right now. Chat amigos, how do you do that? You hit that thumbs up like I just did right now. Hit the subscribe right there, and then hit the bell for notifications and hit all. Then where it says say something, you can drop your comments, your questions, anything right there. If it's something that you need to be answered or said, you see that money symbol right there, you hit that, and that's a super chat. Just like Ronald Ramos already did, free it. Yeah, we're not going to turn it into that episode again. But thank you, Ronald, and you are now in timeout as well, too. So let's get right into it. We got the Wrestling Hound, Joshua, Johnny number 5, East Coast Figs, Jake Peterson, Kevin. What's up, Kevin? Kevin got me a Christmas gift today, dude. I'm super excited.
What?
Yes. Let's see. Robert Hunt is here. Norin, the one and only Sean S. had an amazing day today with all the Disney Plus news going out there. I'm just overwhelmed with it all. Papa Schmitty's here. Let's see. Norin. I'm trying to get everybody here. Ronald Ramos, Tivas, Jace Figs, Plasti Adico, Lago Figs, Robert Hunt. What'd you say?
I said Plastic Addicto.
Plastic Addicto. I mean, yeah. Whatever.
If we're saying that correctly. I'm sorry if we're
because he has it separate. Right.
Okay.
I'm going to call him Plasty.
Okay. If that works for you.
Dorian G, Dark Bulb, Scruffy Nerd, Winger Lose, Smash Lab is in the house, EK. Let's see. Ryan's here. Scruffy Nerd, Born to Hula. Jerry's talking in the chat today this time. We got him all set up for that.
Yep.
So that is Jerry with us on right now, guys. Action Figure Expert. Let's see. Nick's Figs, Urban Spidey, Adam number 2. How's it going? Yats. What's up, Mike Tyson? Nice fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the one and only Mike Tyson is here, guys.
Yeah.
Brian, Dorian, Play No Games, Laser Pants is here. Just came off with Kevin at Toying Around. I was in there for a little bit. Thunder Crow, Norin. Let's see. Blake, Action Figure Boncho, Toying Around is here, which I just said. Nightwing X, Double Down Hustle. Prime to the First is here. Welcome back.
What's up?
Oxmeat Pete. And that's everybody.
Okay, cool. Well, as always, make sure to go share with your friends right now. Let them know. We're here. Jerry's here. We're going to be talking Sota Street Fighter. You don't want to miss it. Part 2 is starting right now.
Boom.
Oh,
There you go. There you go.
where do we start?
Oh, man. I don't even know.
What do we got here? I know you just got it up as an image, Jerry, but do you remember what year this was?
This is 2005. I said I was going to go through images so that it was easier to find stuff. So if somebody calls out, hey, do you have anything from Riddick or whatever, I could find it easier. So I did. I went through a lot. I couldn't go through all of it, but I've got a lot of it organized. So if anybody wants to see something specific, I can find it. But during that, I found a bunch of behind the scenes pictures of working in the shop or at cons. And there are a bunch of these pictures from 2005. And behind the Sota Toys booth, you can see that's Palisades. Me and Palisades, we were kind of joined at the hip forever. I mean, basically the entire time both companies were alive, it's funny because so they have these. I'll pull up a different picture. I'll pull up a picture of the Palisades booth.
Okay.
And this was of course Comic-Con, right?
Yes, San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
2005. Oh, didn't work that time.
Oh,
But
fun.
it says it's
No, I can see it. What happened?
Let me fix it.
Oh, it's only in our chat?
I'll fix it right now.
Okay.
Adam's all, hey. All right, let's see. Is it not working? Oh, there we go.
There it
but
is.
now we have Adam. That was perfect. We had all four of us plus the picture.
Ugh.
Almost
Got it. Yeah, these are going
Okay,
to,
so
going
this
to
is
be
the Palisades booth.
Yes. So this was the Palisades booth, and you could see they have all these square display cabinets that go together. Anyway, the guy who was always in charge of putting the Palisades booth together and taking it apart was Steve Havecki, and Steve and I are very close friends. We have been forever. And I posted this pic on Facebook, and it didn't take him long to swoop in and say, oh my God, those cases were a nightmare. And it reminded me that I was so close to, I thought they were cool looking. I was so close to buying all the same cases for my booth at Sota until I watched Steve try to put them all together, and it just took forever. So just a small little anecdote that I remember.
big shout out to Steve Havecki too. He used to put together and work at the Gentle Giant booth. He worked at Mezco. Like, he's done everything.
He was in charge of Alex Ross's booth at San Diego for years. He's a great guy, and we're doing some stuff together. I can't talk about yet. It's not toy related, but
books.
Books. It is.
Yeah.
And he's just a wonderful person, one of my best friends.
nice.
So do you have any let's start off with like a bang here. Like, I remember you showed us some Darkstalker stuff. Did you find some Darkstalker stuff?
I did. I'm never sure what's been showed and what's not been showed.
Well, we want to see it all.
Right. So whatever you pick.
So I like kind of behind the scenes stuff. So here's a shot of the Dimitri. It's not showing up.
Hold on. I'm on it. We good?
Do you have to do it manually every time? Because we didn't last time.
Every time you leave the screen share and go back to the screen share, I think
It's okay. There it is. I see it. I see it on the live feed. So.
I'm on top of it.
So this was the PU sample of Dimitri from China. So this was the first time we saw Dimitri. I always love these things because they have notes written on them in Mandarin and or is that Cantonese? I can never remember. You'd think after 20 years of going there and doing this, I can remember which language. So I'll just call it Chinese. No disrespect to anybody, but I just love this kind of stuff. These samples and PU samples and prototypes and stuff. So
for the listeners that may not know, so that since we're kind of like taking a look behind the scenes here, you said you've been going there for so long. What's I guess what's kind of the protocol for that? So when you're making a line like this, you have to fly out to China and check out these prototypes in person, or
if you want it to come out good, you do.
Okay, and
not everybody does.
And that's where you made the mistake with the Planet of the Apes, correct?
Very good memory. Yeah, okay. I did not. None of us went out there for Planet of the Apes. I just thought, same with the first Jenna figure. I just thought you send it to China and they send you back this cool stuff. It does not work like that. So what happened is we started Street Fighter, or maybe it was Tomb Raider and Riddick, but we started a few projects at the same time, and they were bigger projects. It wasn't like one Jenna Jameson figure, a Planet of the Apes mini bust. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go out there for a few months. And that's what I did. I went out there and I stayed there. I think it was 9 weeks. I stayed there and I learned everything about how they do everything. I sat at the factory on the assembly lines for days and days and days, just watching them. And I'd step in and say, well, maybe we can try to paint it like this or like this. Yeah, I think that was a big part of why Sota's product came out of the gate kind of like we had already been experienced.
Okay.
I just sat there and did it. And it was miserable. Well, back then, China really still was a third world country. I mean, in 2000, 2001, you would, it was like you were in Beirut. Buildings were falling. You could look into, you'd be driving down the street and I have pictures actually I found of people are living in buildings where the walls have fallen. And
wow.
You just see right into the room they're living in. And it was crazy back then. There were like no traffic laws. Everything was just like, it's much different now. It's been much different for over a decade, but back then, no, it was, and so my point is the food, I lost so much weight because all I ate was Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's, which existed back towards the hotel that I was staying at. But during the time at the factory, if I was at the factory for 6 hours that day or 8 hours, there was nothing there that I could stomach. The first time I tried eating food, local food that like the factory workers and everybody was eating, I was sick in bed for 3 days afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
I was just throwing up. I couldn't get out of bed, and I was like, "All right, so that's it." So I would stop at McDonald's in the morning, and I'd get a few hamburgers. I'd stick them in my backpack, and then I'd just eat them throughout the day.
Wow,
that was life in China back then. It's completely different now.
And you totally did this for 8 months?
No. It was about 9 weeks.
9 weeks. Okay.
Yes.
9 weeks. And that was so you learned all the in and outs and everything. What were you there for first? Was it the Street Fighter stuff? Was it the Darkstalkers stuff?
It wasn't Street Fighter. I want to say it was Tomb Raider. It was definitely Tomb Raider. And it may have been the first series of Now Playing at the same time. I know there were two lines that we were doing simultaneously. And I know one was Tomb Raider, and I can't remember if it was the first series of Now Playing or if it was Riddick. It was one of those. that was going along with Tomb Raider. And then Street Fighter came a little bit after that.
Okay.
I really loved the Riddick figures. The only problem, Jerry, I don't know if you've noticed it, like if you still have any of those, they're all sticky now.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the problem was. I mean, we figured it out pretty quickly, which was it was a badly mixed paint.
Yeah.
I don't think they use the same paint now, but back then they actually added a catalyst to the paint. And it was this, like, if you've ever used fiberglass, you have the resin and you have the catalyst. And if you don't put enough catalyst in it, it's always sticky. The fiberglass never loses its tack. And every single Riddick figure that came off that production line was sticky. Oh. It wasn't a batch. It was the entire run was sticky.
We got a very generous super chat from Toying Around. He said the food was lacking butter. That's an inside joke. He was complaining online the other day about only being able to buy 4 things of butter and not any more. They limited him. So we've labeled him the Butter Baron for that, and the butter jokes have been going back and forth just to fill you in.
So the food in China was lacking butter.
Yes, that's what he was talking about. Yes. But back to the sticky thing, I think SH Figuarts has the same issue with their aura effects, like the power aura effects.
Yeah, I have one of those on my Dragon Ball Z shelf that is the stickiest thing in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about China for a very long time. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Mostly love these days because it's like a first world country now. Mm-hmm. But I still remember how rough it was in the beginning. But at the same time, it was a really adventurous thing to do. I mean, going to China back then was not something people generally did. Even it wasn't even really heavily touristy at that time. Mm-hmm. But if you want me to pull up a picture of that, I could find it, or we could keep going on Darkstalkers.
Go ahead and bring up a picture. I think that'd be cool. You guys cool with that?
I am absolutely cool with seeing old China pictures.
Yes.
Yes. I've heard so many stories about, like, back in the I think the mid to late 90s of all the people that used to go to China, and a lot of the different companies, all the people that would go would plan their trips around each other too. So it would be like, yes, guys from Toy Biz, guys from Palisades, and they'd all be like, oh, time for China trip. So you'd get crews over there.
Whatever you do, you try not to go in the summer because the humidity, especially in August, it's unbearable. It really is. Like I'm in Georgia right now, and people say Georgia's humid. No, like compared to China, this has been nothing.
We got a very generous super chat from Salvador Sandoval. He says, "Hi Jerry, hope you get in the figure game again. Respect."
Well, thank you very much. I'd love to. It's just, I think if I do, it's going to be something original. I'm not sure what I do licensed these days. It's all being done so well already. Like everything is good. It's crazy. I mean, back in my day, there were more bad figures than good figures. Now it's everything looks so good. Where the heck? Oh, here we go.
So while you were here for these 8 weeks and visiting the factories and everything that would then turn around and do the Sota toys, were they different factories or was it always the same? Or were you like traveling around?
Did you get this one? Let's see. So I just shared a picture. The first couple of years, I didn't want to put my eggs in one basket. And so we were using different factories. So there were 3 factories, I believe, at that time. But then I ended up cutting a deal and this came back to bite me in the ass. I ended up cutting a deal with Brighton International. They don't exist anymore, so I don't mind talking smack about them. I ended up cutting a deal with Brighton International. The guy who owned it was David Hoy, and he was doing really great stuff for everyone. He was doing stuff for me, and he was doing stuff for Palisades, and he was doing Mezco, I believe. The big factory was Lucky Yay. Lucky Factory was, and they still are a big factory there. And I used them for some stuff too, but Sota was a smaller company and we were kind of a cog in the wheel, and we didn't get the attention at Lucky that I would have liked. So I cut this deal with Brighton to give them almost everything. In exchange, they gave us very favorable terms, and we were kind of the big client at Brighton. And it worked great for a few years. I mean, he did the Street Fighter, he did Tomb Raider, he did not do Riddick. I think Lucky did Riddick. So he did some really amazing stuff that, people to this day still think are great figures, like Street Fighter. And I don't know, I genuinely don't know what happened, but at some point he lost control of the whole process, and it resulted in, if your listeners remember, the catastrophe that was the quarter, is it quarter scale? The Giant Darkness mega scale figure.
Oh, I remember that.
All of them arrived broken at the waist. Because the packaging just wasn't done correctly. And water time.
It was like that figure, I think, it's partially just due to how big his cape was, because he had a fully sculpted cape as well, right?
Yeah, and it should not have been that thick, so it had that weight. And I don't really remember what happened there, but that was the beginning of the end. And he disappeared. He just disappeared one day. I couldn't find him. Palisades couldn't find him. We never heard from him again. Our money was gone.
Oh, wow.
It was a disaster. And he helped put both of us under. I mean, I think he hurt me more than Palisades. But he definitely had a hand in things going really sideways for both companies. And then I heard he moved to England, but I never spoken to him again. I don't
see why you'd want to.
No. And I really liked him. I mean, we had a really good time. I don't think whatever happened, I don't think it was intentional. But culturally, what you'll learn if you're working with China is saving face is very important. And gosh, this sounds so stereotyped, but I don't mean it that way, because I have so many wonderful friends there. But as far as business, they don't like to admit when they made a mistake, and they will just ignore it. And disappear. It
sounds like some of these Kickstarter guys that they'll start
it's
up.
It's a lot like that. It's a lot like that. Like, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to disappear.
Yeah. There's been a couple lines that were promised, and a lot of people backed that Kickstarter, and these dudes just dipped out. They just vanished. Boom, gone.
And I don't think very many, if any, intend for it to go that way. But when it gets out of hand, I think some people just shut off, and that's what happens. Mm-hmm. And he basically abandoned the factory. I mean, there's a whole story that I don't even remember anymore. Mike Korn probably remembers it, but maybe Ken Lilly, but it was horrific. I was so stressed out at that time. I was hospitalized for panic attacks.
Oh my gosh.
It was rough. So this is a photo, and I have more. This is what you saw at that time when you were just driving through China. You saw buildings like this. They were not unusual. So another one, this is a good example of like the walls have fallen out and people continue to live in them.
Oh, wow.
Now, you really don't see this anymore unless you go really way into rural China.
Okay.
But at the time that I was going, you saw this like a block from your hotel. I mean, that's just how it was.
You didn't do it up fancy and then stay in Hong Kong hotels and then travel to the mainland?
No, because I get car sick. And so I would rather stay in at that time. Now there are beautiful, gorgeous hotels in China that, everybody stays in. There's no reason to stay in Hong Kong anymore. But back then, yes, everyone stayed in Hong Kong because you didn't want to stay in China. There was no food you could eat. It was like this. And the hotels were shitty. Sorry, bad. But I hated traveling so much, and I would get so nauseous on the 2-3 hour car trip that I just chose to stay in China, and everybody thought I was nuts. But to me, it was a better solution.
Yeah, when you weigh vomiting versus not. You always kind of lean towards not vomiting. So,
well, I mean, you get so car sick, you're sick the whole day at that point. It's not like I can run a 7-Eleven and get some Dramamine.
Yeah, that's true.
That didn't exist there. So, yeah, it was. But at the same time, I enjoyed the adventure of it. At least for the first couple of years.
Okay.
Then not so much. Then it was like, oh gosh, I got to go to China.
Yeah, I got to go watch them and make sure that everything comes out okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. But now, like, let's say over the past 7-8 years, it's so first world and normal there. There's like, I enjoy other than the flight, which sucks. It's 16 hours and there's no way to get around it. And I'm not coughing up first class money. It's like 12 grand or something. So the flight sucks, but otherwise, it's nice being in China. I mean, it's just like anywhere else. It's like any other big city in any other first world country. So it's just very different now.
Nice.
So we can move back to Darkstalkers.
Yeah, this is always so good to know and everything. Like we said, we have so many artists all the time in the chat and people who are here who someday, would even like to do exactly what you did and everything. And there's a lot of work and so much, like we did in part 1, so much backstory just to getting this point, and then 8 weeks in the factory that you have to watch them and make sure that you're learning the correct way and everything that there is just to get these great figures that we once had at a time. And that's awesome. What are you bringing up next? More Darkstalkers, Street Fighter?
Yeah, I'm going to put something else up, but I want to say something about what you just said, which is interesting, which is you will learn. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you're old enough to know this, but younger people will learn no one cares about your product as much as you do. No one.
Right.
And here's the thing. I was the only company owner that actually was hands-on over there, and they were very confused by that because Erwin didn't go sit on a production line. Even Mez didn't go sit on a production line. He'd go there, they'd have a few meetings, they'd go party at night. I was there to work, like every day, like paint on my hands, and
you know what, Jerry? I think the product shows.
They were very confused by that whole thing, and they didn't believe I was the owner of the company. Like it was hard to get that through to their head.
Wow, it was bizarre.
So that was interesting. So this is I don't know. I just think this is cool because you know, back then not a lot of companies were doing figures this complicated. So here's a blow apart of Dimitri from Darkstalkers. 1 second.
Okay. All right.
I just like this photo. Now, you know, everyone's seen figures taken apart like this, but back then,
and we got to say back then, I mean, Dimitri, what year are we talking here?
We probably started developing this in 2003, I would guess.
3. So we're talking 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And we still don't get this today in some lines.
It's easy now because they can do it digitally. You just blow it all apart digitally. But back then, you know, when we were still doing things by hand, nobody took pictures like this, really.
Right.
I don't know. Partly maybe it was just because nobody thought to, but partly maybe because they didn't want to give away stuff, maybe. I don't know. I've never been very secretive. So let's see what else we have.
And that just
sadly,
goes to show
I don't have any. I couldn't find any finished pictures of Dimitri, but I know they exist. Let's see. Here's Raptor. Which never came out. So Lord Raptor.
Man.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
I was gonna say I remember seeing this in Toy Fair.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah, so that was my.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was my. My conciseness too. I was like, oh, I can't wait till these drop. Like I've got the Street Fighter, and this is it. This is the ticket, man.
Darkstalkers still had some heat back then. I'm honestly surprised Capcom has not really done much with it in 20 years. I mean, there was the I don't know what you want to call it. It wasn't a reboot, but like the remake that they did, and you know they throw Morgan and stuff occasionally.
They throw Morgan in a lot of stuff, but
a real and they did an app thing. But they haven't done a real Darkstalkers game.
We have a Storm Collectibles Dimitri coming up soon. I've pre-ordered it, so
yeah, and you know, Storm kicks butt with the Street Fighter, so I expect the Darkstalkers figures to be just as good.
Yeah.
So that's Raptor.
I would imagine that they would like. I don't even after like the success of Street Fighter 4, you would think that they would come out with. You know, they would revamp Darkstalkers and let it like come out, you know, but I guess they figure the fan base isn't there, but there's still people that play online.
When I was deep into, you know, Street Fighter statues in the earlier days of PCS, I kept asking them, is there a new Darkstalkers game being made? You know, are we going to get a new Darkstalkers game? Street Fighter at this time was still Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 is doing well, and I knew they were working on 5, and yeah, I just thought they were just telling me no because they didn't want it to leak, but it really was no. There was no game. It really surprised me. Let's see. There's a lot of pics of Morgan out there that we did, but she was really beautiful. I thought it was a really nice Morgan.
Yes.
Sure.
Was she coming with Lilith, or was Lilith another character in the wave? Like, what was the deal?
It was Morgan, Dimitri, and Lord Raptor, and then we had already started Series 2, which was Lilith, Anakaris, and I don't remember. We may not have even chose the third figure in that second.
I don't know. I'm not sure if this was like when you were still there or when you had just left, like right before I left. But we also did a Donovan head for the Dimitri body because we were gonna do the like Donovan at one point is like wearing Dimitri's costume just it's like a color palette swap. So we were going to do a Donovan head for that too. I don't know.
I don't remember. I mean, I wouldn't have been against that, so it could have been something
yeah, it might have been. I honestly like all that. It's like the fact that you were talking about this, like where it's like I don't remember the time and everything. It's like I don't like. It's all a blur to me. That's 15 years ago. You know how many toys we've made since then? It's crazy.
Look at that bust. Look at the profile.
Dude, these were just, it was going to be amazing. Oh, man.
Seriously, the Darkstalkers line and the Micronauts line are like the two giant sob stories of
big time.
You know, like it's just a shame that neither saw the light of day.
I don't know which hurts me more, the fact that these never came out or that we got those weird final round, what was it, Street Fighter final round or last round or whatever they were called.
Those you can like that's Alexi, Renee, and Beardy's fault. I was long gone.
Isn't that really? I mean, I'm not to talk crap about people, but isn't it really the fault of the guy who bought the company?
Yes. Jerry, you know that I have love.
I know you're joking, but I don't know if they know that. So, but
that's true.
It was the most bizarre decision. Like, I still to this day, I have no idea why it happened, other than the new owner just didn't want to do anything that I developed out of ego. Because why buy a company and then cancel what was successful about it? It just doesn't make any sense, and I'll never know.
Well, even the original Zangief that you guys were working on that you'd showed off before.
Gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. And I remember when the Zangief came out, like I was, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. So, I show up to Comic-Con like, all right, cool. I'm going to get this Zangief. It's on. And like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this isn't what I remember at all. Like, this is not, this doesn't look anything like what I remember. Like, this doesn't, like, it's not ringing any bells here at all. And
it didn't make any sense because they were done. So here's the sculpture, Will's sculpture. His Castellane sculpting was so darn clean. Like, it's monster.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. Who was it in the chat? I want to say, I think it was it was Ronald Ramos. He said if these came out now, he would buy them. These Darkstalker figures, and
correct.
Yeah, I would get them too. They look amazing.
Look at them.
Even now.
Look at this. Like, this is what you guys got to understand. Like we said, this is like 17 years ago. And wow, you had such a diverse wave. Like you just showed her from the butt to the bust to the wing, everything. But I'm saying like everything, just, you got to imagine how this was back then. This is why we flipped out about these figures.
Mm-hmm.
And the Street Fighter, like it was just changing the game. And then, to see this, you didn't have, just your basics or whatever. I mean, look at that. That would have been in this wave one. I mean, that's a giant. That's a monster. Mm-hmm. And from that sculpt to this and the articulation and everything, it just, we were so in love with it all.
Yeah. I saw someone just mention Soul Calibur, and I don't remember if the deal was signed or not, but we were about to start Soul Calibur at Sota.
Wow.
And it along with the Marvel license, there were a bunch of new licenses that the new guy just didn't what do you want to call it, complete. Mm-hmm. He just backed out of all of them. You were there. But Soul Calibur was one of my favorite games at that
Not
time.
very long though. I left pretty quickly after you did.
Adam's
true.
all.
So
Yeah.
this Darkstalkers figure, I mean, the sculpture and then Cat's paints. I mean, it's a beautiful figure.
Do you remember at all what if like they did the sculpture for this and the paint? Do you remember if there was any accessories that were sculpted for this?
I don't remember. Do you remember?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I remember because
I mean, there had to have been, but I don't remember what they would be.
Yeah, they're obviously like just like the Street Fighter figures, there were extra hands. Think that there were some extra head expressions here and there, and then there were we did some of the little like kind of buddy characters, you know, like the Morgan Lilith had bat versions and stuff. So it was like there were like little additional pieces for sure.
Oh, wow.
Here's one of the extra hands I just found. Not that it's a big deal, but it's there. So
Oh, okay.
because you can see the hand is open, and the hands in the pictures I just showed are all kind of
Right.
like that.
Right. And for the people listening, he's got a kind of like a karate chop hand. The hand that he's showing has a eyeball in the middle, and the figure that we're looking at is the oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name again.
Anacharis?
Boom.
I call him Anacharis, but I know that's mispronouncing his name. I think it's Anacharis, but
Well, here's something funny too.
correct.
is back in the
Anacharis sounds
day-
like a Playboy playmate or something.
Okay, Adam. We're
A Russian
all the
spy.
time. What
a Russian spy.
I don't think any of us knew either. I mean, because all we had to go was off of the video game. So any way that they had called it is what we were saying. You know what I mean?
Well,
we
dude,
didn't.
it's 2020 and people are still arguing how to pronounce Ryu.
Yeah.
I pronounce everything wrong anyway, so I'm just
Yeah.
You know
I
what's
can't
great?
actually pronounce his name properly. The Rue, you know, there's like this roll of the tongue that I can't do it. So I go with the lame American accent version, which is Ryu.
Or there's even like that weird kind of like it's like almost like it sounds like you're saying Dio, because it's like Dio. With
Yeah,
that
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, I had a
Some of the
That was-
cartoons when they said it fast.
That was Darkstalkers. What do we want to jump to next?
Okay, can we kind of like go through the beginning of what started the Street Fighter line? Like, I guess the
Shaney is a giant Street Fighter fan, so we have
yeah.
to talk Street Fighter.
I'm sorry,
So-
I just yeah.
Palisades was going to do Street Fighter. I don't know if the deal was signed or not. I've probably been told at some point, but I don't remember. Mark Mosman was the head of licensing for Capcom. And Mark Mosman is one of the nerdiest, geekiest, friendliest, nicest people you'll ever meet. A true fan, as well as working in the industry. And so Mark knew that I was going to end up sculpting at least some of the Street Fighter figures for Palisades. And then Palisades and Capcom got into an argument. I don't know the details of that. Mike Horn from Palisades would be the one to know the details. But the deal fell apart. And then Mark came to me and said, "You were going to sculpt them anyway. You're already starting to make your own figures. Why don't we just give you the Street Fighter license?" And I said, I don't have the money to do another big license. And to me, Street Fighter was going to be bigger than anything I was currently doing, Riddick or Tomb Raider or Porn Stars. It was very intimidating to me, and I didn't feel I was up to the task. So I turned it down. I don't know if he.
Oh no, did we lose him?
No. There he is.
Okay, there he is. Okay.
There you go. You don't know what?
I don't know if Mark shopped it around after. Oh, it says the internet connection is unstable.
You're good now, though.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So after I turned Street Fighter down, I don't know if Mark shopped it to other companies or if he just kept it in his back pocket to ask me again in a couple months, which he did. And he basically pestered me until I got past my fear of doing it. And I said yes, even though I didn't really know how I'd pay for it. Paying for the license was easy because they didn't even ask for any money up front because he really wanted me to do it.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
But paying to make it, you're talking $15,000 a figure to steel tool, not including development. And then you got to pay for there was no crowdfunding. We weren't doing pre-orders like that. Then you got to pay for the product. And, you hoped to negotiate a small enough deposit with the factory that when it's ready to ship, you can invoice all your customers, meaning at that time, retailers and distributors, not individuals, and get that money in fast enough to then pay the factory what you owe them before they start to get pissy that you haven't paid. It's, we
So
were just juggling money that back then. It wasn't like we had, it all comes down to the problem that I don't have any education or as far as business or anything like that. And I didn't even know how to go get a line of credit or anything. So everything that was done was cash on hand.
So you were robbing Peter to pay Paul all the time.
Well, not really, because that makes it sound like you're always under like a debt.
Oh, okay.
But it was just that
initial.
We didn't have the cash to fund the advance costs, even though the line was very profitable in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Mark talked me into it. I said okay, and we jumped into it. And the first line was sculpted by me, Alexi, and maybe I think it might have just been me and Alexi at that time. Will hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think Will was there yet. But was John Stevens there yet doing stuff?
I don't think John was there either. Renee was there, but he wasn't sculpting yet. I mean, he may have.
Renee and Steve were doing just molding casting then.
Yeah, they may have done some cleanup or something, but I think it was me and Alexi. The pictures I found are Alexi's hands. So now I didn't organize it that well to be able to click on Alexi's hands.
I'll take whatever I can get, Jerry. Okay.
He just wants Street Fighter.
Okay. So here's Alexi working on Bison. Hi, honey. My dog's here.
That's okay.
And we at some point we got to talk about the giant, the larger than life size Sagat.
It wasn't larger than life. It was life size.
Like, okay, well he's giant. I'm short, so yeah, he was giant.
Well, even to me, he was giant. So here's Alexi sculpting Bison. And I posted this online to see if anyone could tell me who did the turnarounds. To this, I don't remember who did our turnarounds. They're really nice. I thought maybe it was Ken Lilly, and Ken Lilly told me no. So I don't remember who did our turnarounds, but you can see, and then behind you can see the turnaround for Sodom is behind there too. And then Ryu, his turnaround is behind there as well. Ryu's is at the bottom, Sodom's is to the left. But Alexi, so I can tell I roughed this body out because this was my that was my style at that time. I could definitely tell it, but I think Alexi did the head. He's working on the head there.
That's always been one of my more favorite versions of M. Bison. I loved everything about this line.
I like, my favorite Street Fighter look is Alpha, and that was with big thick Bison.
Yes.
What's funny is so I bypassed Capcom approvals on most of this. Well, really? I knew I had Mark Mostman, the head of licensing, on my side, and I knew they wanted us to do it badly enough that they gave it to me for no money. So I felt like I had, I don't want to say power. I wasn't on a power trip, but I was super busy, and I felt like if you wanted me to do this badly, let me do it my way.
Right.
Don't screw around with me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I didn't want to open the door to them having input. So I basically just didn't do approvals until it was too late. He knows me well enough to know that happens. I didn't do approvals until it was too late for them to tell me to change stuff. And so we sculpted, we didn't show them anything until we had finished prototypes.
Oh, wow.
And then they came back and they were like, well, we really don't want to do thick bison. We want to do thin bison.
Mm-hmm. Street Fighter 2 bison. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, sorry.
Jerry's like, hey.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of crappy on my part, but I've been doing commercial art at that time long enough to know, to remember how many times the boss screwed up what could have been great. And,
I think that's what really was the appeal of that line, was the fact that you chose to go with the alpha look, because the alpha was still really hot back then.
Well, and do you know what my thinking really was? Here, this is the honest to God truth. I'm such a massive Marvel geek. I felt Alpha looked like what Street Fighter would look like if it was in the Marvel universe.
I like that even better.
That's why I did it. I was like, you know what? This art looks like Marvel. You know, there of course there's Marvel versus Capcom, but Marvel versus Capcom looks like Alpha.
Yeah, it does. You're right. They even used a lot of the same sprites from Alpha.
That's what I wanted. I wanted it to look, because I'm a frustrated Marvel artist at heart, right? And so that's how I tailored stuff, is to, like, you know, how can I do this and make it feel like I'm working on Marvel? That's, you know, that's the truth.
Wow. I've never thought of it that way. and now you can just totally see it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was great. Yeah.
It's the Marvel Street Fighter line.
Yeah, that's probably why I love them so much. I love both of those.
Correct.
things.
Right. Yeah. And then to say why we love Marvel versus Capcom so much as well too.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of embedded into us.
This was this is so low res, but it's what I got. So this was the main Sota sculpting room at the very beginning, before we moved into the nicer building. What this was is this was a corner of the effects shop, because I owned an effects studio at the time. This was a corner of the effects shop that we walled off and hung toys and turned into the toy studio. And you could see here, you could see Justice Joseph in the foreground. Justice still works in toys, right? Justice is still sculpting toys.
I believe so. I mean, he's digital, but yeah, I believe.
Right. Well, everybody's digital.
Yeah.
But and then behind Justice, or to the side left of Justice, is Alexi. Alexi was basically my head sculptor. It sounds bad saying it this way, but he was my head sculptor until Will came in. Alexi did not get a demotion. He's a fantastic sculptor, always was, but Will just had a magical knack that was better than me. So Will was ahead of me as far as sculpting. But the good thing was Alexi liked to do monster stuff more anyway. So Alexi was doing a lot of the now playing stuff, and so he didn't mind that he wasn't doing Street Fighter anymore. And Will was very happy to do Street Fighter. So it worked out for everybody. Nobody felt slighted in any way. At least I hope not.
Aces in the places, my friend. Aces in the places.
So you could see every day we went to or every I forget what day that toy deliveries were at Toys R Us back then, but whatever that day was, we'd go and we'd buy whatever the new figures were. And we were not picky. Like, we bought everything. And we just pinned them up all over the walls, all over the exposed rafters, because this was just a corner of the effect shop. Those were good times. Notice we have fans because the AC didn't vent to that room.
Oh my gosh.
I
think Adam talked about that.
The old shop, but the shop that I worked in was right next, literally right around the corner from a Toys R Us. And the Toys R Us literally had a collector scalper store right next door, like in the same parking lot. There was a reseller store where you'd never find anything in the Toys R Us. You'd go next door and they would have everything new.
Yeah, he would walk, but then we became friends with Andrew. And do you remember we hired him?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We hired the guy from the scalper store, Andrew, and I still talk to him at least once a week, to come work in the office, because I mean, he was so knowledgeable about toys and passionate. And to me,
he was a regular on the old, what was it, Action Figure Times? Was that
he wrote for Action Figure Times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember Action Figure Times.
Daniel Pickett, Julius Marx started as well, was Action Figure Times.
And it's important to me that the people working on this stuff are just as passionate as I am.
Well, yeah, it really goes to show, if you have someone who's passionate about it, they're going to do a better job than someone's like, I'm just here for the check, man. You know, like I just want to get my money and go home, you know. I'm
just going to click through a few of these behind the scenes pictures before we get back into.
Yeah.
I know it's small on here, but you can see the original drawing for the Resident Evil Hunter figure pinned up to the wall. If you look on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
I still want someone to do a Resident Evil now, like a highly articulated 1/12 scale Resident Evil figure or line. I would love that.
Resident Evil is a very complicated property because the creator, he doesn't own it, but they state he still has all the control over it, and he's very selective about what he wants to do.
Wow.
You can see here, so we did a bunch of masks for the Misfits for one of the tours. You can see it hanging on the fan. You can see, I mean, if you can see it, you can see there's some artwork, Predator artwork. We were working on mini busts for Palisades at that time, and all sorts of good stuff in this picture.
I think we're gonna pull a Wade move on this super chat, Ernie. Yeah, he just wants to hear his name, but if he wants to hear his name, he's gonna have to pay more.
Man, that's all amazing. That just like, so that was, so in the front, so you were still then at this time running your effects stuff too, right?
Poorly, but yes, because my interest had really moved to the toy side, and I really was not into the effects stuff. It was still running and operating. Hi, baby.
And then you guys go and we're getting all the stuff from Toys R Us and everything, then coming back with just like massive ideas to use for everything, right? And how can we do this better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the goal, was to, I mean, we took all sorts of stuff apart and analyzed it and tried to figure out, you know, a way to do it even better. Adam will like this one. Here's Snot painting. He went for beverage.
Yes.
He'll be right back though.
Yes. If you don't mind me asking while we wait for, oh my gosh.
I know. I want that so bad.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you guys get the idea from for the ankle pivot? Because this line was one of the first, I guess, domestic American lines to ever have the ankle pivot like that.
I can tell you exactly how that came about.
Woo!
So there's a there was, I can't remember the name of this company, but they did Mortal Kombat figures. They did one line of Mortal Kombat figures in the late 90s. And I can't remember what they were called. And that was all they ever did. And they had done these really cool ankle joints on these Mortal Kombat figures. And I really liked playing with those and posing those figures. There was a lot about them I didn't like, but I really liked the ankles and the legs. And so we sat around thinking like, well, we want to do, really nice ankle joints. And then, it was like, well, these ankle joints on these Mortal Kombat figures are complicated without a necessary. They're overly complicated for what you get. And we were like, why don't we just put balls in the ankles? And got to remember at that time, Japanese figures were hard to come by. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like we could go online and look at, what's being done over in Japan. So yes, there were figures in Japan that were already doing ball sockets in the ankles, but I didn't have any of those. And so we just kind of, and same with the toe thing we did get directly from that Mortal Kombat line, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, because you guys had put that cut joint in there in the ankle. And I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was something that I didn't have in any other figure at the time. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, wow. Like you've got an, like a somewhat half ankle pivot here. And it was really awesome for posing, especially with that Sagat there, because his feet were so like spread out. You could get him in some cool poses. I remember I used to have him, posed up on like 1 foot all the time. No problem.
Right. I have to credit Michael Norman a little bit for turning me on to articulation, because I was more of a sculpture snob and I didn't really care about posing figures at the very beginning. I mean, this is before we started making our own stuff. This was back when I was sculpting for other companies. I just wanted to sculpt something cool. I didn't like having to cut it all up and ruin the beauty of it with articulation. Until I saw Michael Norman who was working for me at that time, start to pose figures like all around his desk that he was working at, and all these cool poses. And I started to kind of like see the beauty of that. And I tend to jump into things with both feet. And so I was like, all right, if we're going to do articulation, let's do articulation. Let's not do it half-assed. Let's just do it. So, so that's why the Street Fighter line was so different than the Now Playing line, where the Now Playing line, to me, it was about bringing that character to your desktop. And yes, you should be able to move his arm or his head a little bit, but really it was about bringing that character to your desktop, where Street Fighter was about, it was a toy, let's make a toy. And that was exciting. Do you see who that is, Adam? Can you tell?
That's Aaron McNaught.
It is. It's not. Look at him.
Yep. Young boy.
He's a very talented guy, man.
We had a very generous super chat for Ronald Ramos. He says, say Thick Nick, but with the British accent.
Thick Nick?
Thick Nick.
No.
Thickless Nicholas.
Still, it wasn't enough. I wouldn't did it. Yeah. That Sagat figure is something that I wanted back for a long time. That was like just one of the pivotal points, like for childhood and early collecting, of why can't they all be this amazing?
That's still one of my favorite figures, man. I love that figure even now. I had gotten out all the Sota stuff because I was going to do the picture for yes, Adam.
No, there's like a little hand on my face.
Oh, okay. That's Jerry's hand on your face. Oh no, that's mine.
Yes, Cheney, you got out your Sagat.
Yeah. Well, no, I got out a lot of the old Sota stuff, and it was just like kind of cool, like going through it again, and like a lot of that stuff I had to hunt down later on because.
I was gonna say that. Did you get out everything?
Oh yeah, no, it was all in one place, and I got it all out, and a lot of that stuff was hard to come by because in the beginning I just cared about player one. I just wanted all the player one stuff, and that was straight. So I had my player one stuff. I was good on that, and then I was like, you know what? I need all of the other colors. I want to go all in on this. I want them all, and so I have a majority of them. I think there's 4 or 5. Figures that I don't have the color of, and then obviously I don't have the clear employee exclusives. But other than that, I'm pretty up to date on it. But even that white bison, or the gray one, I mean, that was awesome. I wanted to ask too, Jerry, on that first wave. So that first wave was Ryu, M. Bison, Sagat, and Sodom, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Wave was, sorry, I got a text.
No worries.
M. Bison, Ryu, Chun-Li.
Oh, Chun-Li. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was an
act. 4 or 5? Am I missing one?
No,
5. It was 5.
Yeah. And there was there was an accident with the shipping of those, right? Like a couple containers or some containers had fallen off of one of the boats or something I'd heard of.
That did happen, but was that Street Fighter? I honestly don't remember what product that was. It might have been Street Fighter. It did really happen.
I think it was Street Fighter, but I didn't think it was Wave 1 of Street Fighter.
Oh, look at that.
I heard it was Wave 1 because the Wave 1s are so hard to come by.
Well, even when that happened, we got replacements. It's not like they didn't disappear into the ether.
Oh, okay.
So I believe I have the spreadsheets buried somewhere. I didn't go through those. I could tell you exactly how many figures we made.
I want to talk about the bloody variants that we weren't supposed to make.
All right, I'll pull those up in a second. But yeah, this is
Do you have those, Cheney?
No, I don't. And it was funny because for the longest time I didn't want those because I'm like, that's weird. Why would they have bloody variants? Like, this is Street Fighter. So I never. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go. I was just gonna say
versions. They were the if you lost.
Yes, I know. I got it.
That's so awesome. What I wouldn't give for that wave again, dude.
Bloody. I didn't label them that well.
And then to top it off, chat migos and listeners too, that's Wave 1 that you would go into your Suncoast video store, Toys R Us, anything like that, and they were $19.99.
At some point, they're $14.99 too. I remember in some places.
Yes, it depended on where you went, and for these amazing figures that are now just, oh man, like I said, beautiful.
The bloody ones were a Toy Fair magazine exclusive too, right? Am I remembering?
I thought they were Comic-Con.
I thought they were Comic-Con exclusive too, but
yeah,
I don't remember them showing that in Toy Fair. Like, I was a diehard Toy Fair.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything being that good in Toy Fair. Not saying it like that, but I would have been all over it. No, because I mean, like, they had Firestar and they had, you know what I mean? Those ones that you could get from Toy Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember one of those.
It's funny, as I'm looking through these pictures for the bloody, did I disappear?
No.
As I'm looking through the pictures of the bloody, I'm just coming upon pictures of them posed. And you know what? They really were pretty cool. They really did pose well.
Like we said, this is Cheney's main line. He's only missing a couple. And when we very first started this show, years ago as well too. That would be my favorite thing, was to look at all of these. Oh, look at that. Yeah, see. Oh God, I want that so bad.
Okay, so here we go. This was the prototype of the bloody one, because I can tell, because the blood didn't look this good on the production one.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing.
According to the internet, guys, it was a Toy Fair exclusive. So
Dude, look at he looked it up.
I won that round. Thank you.
No, I think
You
it was,
lose.
I think it was a Comic-Con one.
I wish we had time to show you all these pictures, because we spent a lot of time like playing with them in the great poses, and these are just really cool looking.
5EF, that's exactly what we were just talking about, man. It was $19.99, honestly, back in our day, and on $14.99 sometimes too, or sales or anything.
Okay, hold on real quick. I'll be right back if you can leave it on.
Go.
Oh, okay. You found a different picture, or?
On the Ryu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, bring up the Ryu and then hold it there so I can adjust when I get back. I'll be right back.
Okay, so Adam, you found out that these were Toy Fair.
They were Toy Fair magazine exclusives. And
is this the 2-pack with the red background?
2-pack with the red background. So it was, you got both figures, bloody versions, and it was a Toy Fair exclusive. Jerry, you can explain more like what the deal was, because like we ended up.
You're the one that remembered where it came from.
I know, but like I said, my memory is fleeting. Certain things stick, other things don't. So I know that we made them. I don't know how many we made, and I'm pretty sure what happened was we weren't allowed to distribute them as a Toy Fair exclusive. Like, so I'm pretty sure that they were like, I don't know.
So Alicia's Crumb.
I have no idea.
Alicia's Crumb just said Toy Rocket.
That's okay. I remember now. So you're right. They were a Toy Fair exclusive, but then Capcom wouldn't approve them.
Right.
So Toy Fair couldn't take them. So we started selling them, kind of like under the table.
Thank you. That's how I rememred it.
Now there's 2 different versions, right? Didn't some come with extra heads and everything?
I didn't.
Now you're asking too much of me.
Because I if you look on eBay, honestly, there's the red pack. This is the 2-pack of them, and one always had extra heads in the middle, and then one didn't. And I always wanted to know, was the bloody variant the one that didn't, and that was just it was a bloody variant, and the other regular came with all the exclusives? I mean, with all the heads?
Oh, there were 2 versions. There was a non-bloody 2-pack and then a bloody 2-pack. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, but one came with extra stuff.
Sounds familiar.
Or did the bloody version also have all the extra hidden somewhere?
If I'm correct, the non-bloody version was a bootleg.
With the extra heads and everything?
Yes.
Really?
Because I think they only put out the bloody one, and it was kind of the one and done deal. And then
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
it's yours.
You would know.
You were there.
Yeah.
So we did do that, and it was an exclusive for someone. I'm looking at the package right here, but it's not big enough for me to.
What, Jerry? Is that what happened? Because like I have a theory, because that I am seeing it here on my phone. That
Extreme
you
Toy
weren't allowed to do the bloody versions for Toy Fair, so it ended up becoming just a regular 2-pack for Toy Fair with the extra heads and stuff, and then the bloody ones we just kind of did on the side. They were our side kick.
The thing is that these 2-packs have a symbol on them, a sticker, and it looks like it says Extreme Toys, which was not a distributor, but an online site back then. I don't know, maybe they're still around. Here we go. This is a larger image.
Okay.
This is so awesome because of this.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I still can't read it.
Like with all the rumors and everything. So
awesome that we can't remember any of it.
No, but that it's coming back. I mean, like here was Cheney with in our day, you know, the old ghost stories, the old what I heard was, you know,
yeah, like I had said with the shipping containers and stuff, for the longest time I had read in a bunch of places that
I remember that too. I just thought that was after Wave 1.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. I have a bad habit of as soon as I have a thought, I say it.
That's fine. You're the guest. It's okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Here we go.
On the live, Cheney, I just see it say Toy Migos.
So
look at that.
This is the non-bloody 2-pack, and it was for Extreme Toys, superherotoys.com. So it was an exclusive through that website that we did.
All right, let me... Yeah, okay, so it's not showing up on the...
Uh-oh.
It's all right. I can fix it. Just give me 1 second here.
Okay, so go ahead, Jerry. You're saying, so you found this picture, and this is the one that you're saying was Extreme Toys?
Yes. So this has all the different heads and stuff. And it was for Extreme Toys, and it's not bloody.
Okay.
Toy Fair never got anything, as far as my memory recalls. They just didn't get an exclusive. We sold them backdoor, and but this was a legit, like, approved, like, normal exclusive. Again, I have the spreadsheets that would tell me how many, but I don't.
What Cheney keeps telling me about these clear employee exclusives, and I don't remember clear employee exclusives except like this here. Like, you need to correct me, because like I remember the purple clear bison. I remember what I called the Jolly Rancher Blanca, because he was clear, but he was in a couple different colors. And then there was the glow in the dark Blanca also. But what were the clear employee exclusives? Because I legit, I don't even know. I don't own any of those as far as I know. And I have a good chunk of Sota Street Fighter stuff in storage.
It was... Oh, go ahead.
You may know more than I do.
Go ahead. You can go first.
My memory is it was like a Christmas thing. We made enough to give to the employees, and we like sent a set to like Mark Mostman and Palisades, and like it was like a couple dozen sets. And I don't think it was every figure either of round one. I think it might have only been Sagat and Ryu.
It was round 3 or 4, whichever one Sakura was in.
Okay, so that's 3.
Yes.
I think. Oh, okay, so it was further in. Yes. But I do remember that it was like a handful. I don't even have a set. But or at least I don't think I haven't actually looked at my boxes of Street Fighter figures in 15 years.
So Jerry, you don't even have a set. Adam, you don't even remember seeing them.
Like vaguely, maybe, but like honestly, like and you know, Cheney kind of said it earlier. Like my interest was the Player One characters. Like I liked. Like the purple M Bison was kind of cool, and then the glow in the dark Blanco was kind of cool to me. But otherwise, like the Player 2 colors or other variants, like while they're totally legit and like I understand why they were made, and I totally am cool with them being made, they just weren't for me. I was like, I want Player 1 colors, and like, you know, I thought the bloody ones were really cool too. So it's like I was way more. I don't know, white bread about it. Like, you know, like I was boring. So
yeah, the chat says that Anthony's Customs actually has a full set of them, and he's probably, I think, the only guy that's done a review of every single one of the Sota Street Fighter figures out there. He's got all the colors and the employee clear exclusives.
Okay.
Does he have let's see if Adam remembers this, the Japanese variants?
Okay, that now we're talking Gen, right? The black Japanese variant.
Oh,
Gen.
We did every single round of Street Fighter has a Japanese variant set that was only sold in Japan.
Oh my gosh.
Look at here goes JD.
yeah, but he's talking the black Gen was one of those because like I remember that because I ended up using it to make a custom.
Right.
I had that.
Sometimes we would see the colors that they chose and say, oh, well, let's use that for our variant too. But the distributor in Japan was a company still around called Blister, and they would tell us, we want Gen in this color, we want Blanca in this color, and we would they would order a lot, and we would make them, and the agreement was we could not sell them anywhere else, and so yeah, I do have those. I know I have those.
Yeah, the black Gen.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people knew about them because at that time the internet wasn't as prolific as it is now.
Exactly.
And so they were never marketed here. So how would people ever know they existed?
I know the black Gen is somewhat of a tale or a hearsay or a relic, if you will, because a lot of people say a myth. A lot of people say no, that's a bootleg. That was a bootleg that never was released over here.
I know. I literally customized one of those.
This is what I'm talking about. Is we're laying all these myths to rest and everything.
Exactly.
So we got the Ryu and Sagat was real with the extra heads. That was an Extreme Toys one. It was real. Jerry just showed it and talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now Adam knows about the black Gen, so that's real too. So Alicia is also asking, is the evil Ryu version legit? Not the purple-handed one, but the other one?
Let me see. I've got pictures.
Definitely an evil Ryu.
Yeah. No, there was a legit evil Ryu, but then there was also a bootleg. And the bootlegs, actually, I want to say, were coming out in
so this is years ago, Cheney, and we keep saying bootleg of these ones. Could it be the different versions that Jerry's talking about and not really a bootleg?
Well, I actually remember looking and seeing some of the Japanese variant packaging. So I'm
about to solve this mystery.
All right, let's do it. Yep, there it is.
It's legit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Solve the mystery. That's kind of cool.
We've done like 3 now. Okay, so this is real. Celicia, is this what you're talking about? Silicious Crown?
I think he's talking about the one with the purple hand, though, because there was one that came out like this, but it had purple hands on.
Yeah, I have that one too, but he's saying not the purple hand one.
Oh, then yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Okay, so what is this, Jerry? This was just one done by itself, or do you remember the story to this one?
Yeah, this one.
Awesome.
They want to know if you can zoom in a little bit. The
purple hand one was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Okay.
This was probably someone else's exclusive, but I don't remember whose. I just don't remember whose. But it's real. But the purple hand one I know is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive because it came with, I have it here. It came with Bison.
The clear Bison.
Yeah.
Who was doing the packaging before I got there?
Me.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did fucking everything.
Yeah, no, I know. Like that's
terrible.
I'm pretty sure that I remember I got like all the files for stuff from you.
Yeah,
and there's the purple bison that I was talking about.
Because so at that time, I thought, to me, even today, I don't understand the allure of nice packaging. I don't get it. But at that time,
preach on. Woo!
But I don't get it. But I respect it now in the sense that I know it matters, so I put effort into it. But back then, I was like, I'm not going to pay someone $1,000 to design package when it's just going to be opened and I'm not going to spend that money. So I just did the packaging myself on everything. And here's the funny anecdotal story. So I did all the adult Superstar packages until we did the deal with Vivid to do all the Vivid girls. And Vivid was I don't know, maybe they still are, the largest porn company in the world. And I sent my packaging into Vivid and they were like, we're not going to, no way, this sucks. and I said, well, that's what we've got. And they said, you know what, we'll do the packaging for you. So if you look at the packaging for the Vivid line of adult Superstars, it's really good compared to all the rest.
I don't want to get off of Street Fighter too much because that'll upset Cheney. But I just finished watching HBO Lovecraft Country, and I'm reminiscing about the Lovecraft line. And that's actually one of the first lines where I worked on the packaging. And like, I don't think like me looking back on it, I didn't appreciate Lovecraft back then the way I do now. And definitely like even seeing Lovecraft Country, it opens up a whole new world on how I look at that line and look at Lovecraft in general. But that I did the packaging on that, and like those toys, I know that I have a Cthulhu still in the box somewhere in my piles of stuff. And like those toys were great, and I know they were a labor of love for like, you, John Stevens, and Alexi. Like the sculpting on them is like ridiculous detailed Lovecraft monsters. Like that was such a cool line that I think just flew under the radar, that a lot of people have basically forgotten about that it even existed, and it was just awesome.
That's somebody posted earlier and said I should get back into action figures, and that's one of the things I've been thinking about is to just do a Cthulhu figure that I could sell forever. Because I think it would just continue this. Every year you'd sell, I don't know, 5,000-10,000 of them. And I just have an idea in my head of what it should be.
You're so talented.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it every year too.
Same here. And you know what? You're so talented. It's something that,
yes,
it's in your blood and in your bones, man. Like,
thank you. Somebody just said there's a blue packaging, Evil Ryu. The blue packaging, I believe, was the Japanese.
This is true.
So Salacious Crumb has seen the Japanese ones.
Yes.
But this is cool, this Cthulhu pick, only because, so back at PCS, Sota, whichever, back at Sota, it was kind of a sculptural company. Like it was very based on people who loved sculpture just as much as toys. And so we took it upon ourselves to sculpt everything really big as 2-ups. And then, so you could see the 2-up of the Cthulhu and then the actual product. And I wish I had castings of that 2-up.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just a bummer that I forgot how cool and big that was. I sculpted, we'll go back to Street Fighter, but I sculpted,
my fault.
I sculpted everything on Cthulhu but his wings. And then John did Dagon all by himself, and Alexi did the Ghoul all by himself. And then one of them did the wings for Cthulhu, but I don't remember who. Yeah, good old Cthulhu. All right, back to Street Fighter.
That's awesome.
So
and Jerry, we've been laying all these rumors to rest and everything. And what collectors don't realize now was we don't have this internet inside workmanship of knowing, well, I'll just look it up. Like Adam was looking up different stuff. In our day, it was all hearsay. When you were at Toys R Us grabbing a figure with somebody else of, hey, I heard that's not real. And then like Toy Fair would come out or Lee's magazine, and you would see little articles there, but that's all we had to go off of, unless we like literally talked to you at a Comic-Con or a con or something. So this is awesome to to hear all this stuff like that. So Lucius actually saw one of the Japanese versions that you just mentioned. That
Well, a lot of the guys in the chat right now are saying like, "Oh, when are you going to start it? When are you going to do a Kickstarter, Jerry? We're going to back it." So
I had such a bad experience with Kickstarter 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. So I bet a lot of people thought the Japanese one. If they saw the Japanese ones, they thought they were bootlegs.
Probably.
It was all written in Japanese, and but no, they were legits. They just were never shown anywhere else. So what you were just saying about discovering things reminds me of how I try to describe to people what it was like going to China in the late 90s, early 2000s. Aisles and aisles of toys that we've never seen, where now you see it all on the internet, and pretty much anything available in China you can buy right now with a few clicks of your mouse.
Yeah.
But back then we didn't know what those toys were, and you just walked around like it was your first time in Toys R Us. You're just like mouth open, like
in awe. Yeah.
I mean, like I don't mean to I'm building off of your story, but I am changing it to one thing. But like, if you talk to like someone like Jesse Falcon, the Spider-Man classics and Marvel Legends, those came from Jesse going overseas and seeing really cool, super articulated, like Kamen Rider figures, the SIC. Like that's where he was like, hey, we can make a 12-inch, action figure articulation at this smaller 6-inch scale. And like, that's where it all came from, is like overseas seeing these awesome ideas that, no one had any idea of back in the day.
Yeah. As a kid, I was a huge Shogun Warriors fan, right? And so we didn't have a lot of money. So I had Mazinga, but I didn't have the rest of them. And I think I had Godzilla too. But I also had a couple of the die-cast ones from the 70s. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember those, but you've probably seen them since then. When I went to China for the first time and saw dozens and dozens of different styles of die-cast, robots, I was like, it was insane. I mean, I was sending boxes of toys back home. Like, it was incredible.
It's like
it'd still be the same today.
This is perfect time for segue into Micronauts. I know that you like Cheney. Ask whatever you need to ask about Street Fighter. I want to talk about Micronauts at some point.
Okay. I got one more question on Street Fighter, and then we can move on. What I guess led the different color palettes? Like where did the idea come from that to do the player twos and stuff? Where did you decide to like, hey, you know what? Was it people ordering different colors, or was it like, you know what, let's put out, different colors just to put them out? Or
it was partly that player two colors are an integral part of the game, whereas that's not something you could say about many games.
Right.
But then at the same time, it's a way to continue to monetize. I hate that word, but to monetize that line and to sell more figures. And, we all need to sell as many figures as we can. So I didn't feel it was egregious because it was integral to the Street Fighter world, player two colors. As for how we decided on the colors, I think we just, so we got a machine in.
Nice.
We bought a Street Fighter machine, and that's how we started to figure out, which colors we wanted to use.
Okay, connecting question: who is the best at the machine? Since you guys bought one, there had to have been someone there that was just cleaning house, right?
It was probably Renee and Steve.
Yeah, I would have voted Renee personally.
It definitely wasn't me. I almost never play. I'm not a fighting game player. So my love of Street Fighter started in the 90s when I discovered anime and stuff like that. And so, you know, the Street Fighter 2 animated movie and stuff like that, I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I knew there was a game, but I never really played it.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about the movies and the OVA, the TV show, you know. That was where I grew to like Street Fighter.
Nice.
It was literally like when Jerry would go home for the day, we were right around the corner from a grocery store. So we would go over and we would buy, and like, you don't judge. We were young and stupid. We would buy a bottle of Jägermeister and do shots and play Street Fighter.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
So not only were you making toys all day, you finished it up by playing Street Fighter and drinking Jaeger.
And then driving home. Kids don't do this.
What was I doing?
Yeah, you were a little crazy back then.
Yeah, what was I doing wrong with my life at the time?
So
I felt that like work should be as little like work as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember, you know, because I've been a professional artist my whole life. I've never had a job outside of art. But having said that, when maybe not the first, but one of the first jobs I got in Los Angeles when I moved there was at an amusement park company called RoboShop, and they made us punch a time clock. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever even seen a time clock. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like they care if we're like 5 minutes late? And they're like, yeah, we care if we're 5 minutes late. And I said to myself, well, if I ever have a company, I'm not going to give anybody a time clock. And I didn't. But you correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. Did John Schuweiler install still a time clock at some point at Sota?
Not while I was there. I never.
But it probably never happened. I just couldn't remember. But I remember my office manager at PCS always bugging me about doing the time clock, and I was like, I don't want to do a time clock. Like,
you should have had a time clock though, because like honestly, like me, Renee, and Alexi would take the longest lunch breaks because we would go out hunting. Like that's literally, we would go out. And it's not like we weren't doing it to take advantage of anything.
But
we were
also
out hunting for a new wave of Marvel Legends or something. Like,
but you'd also work over the weekend if something had to get done.
And we
so
and like that's the same thing. Like when we would stay, like you wouldn't leave early by any means. You would leave and like we would stick around and drink Jaeger and play Street Fighter and also work until like late into the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anything art centered needs to be relaxed. I couldn't work like I can't wake up and immediately be creative. Like some days I just say, screw it. You know what? I'm not feeling it today. I'm just not going to work today. I felt the same way at Sota and the same way at PCS. Like, you know, if somebody was like, I'm just not feeling it today, I'm like, go home. Whatever.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast with a writer, and he was actually talking about that whole kind of like artistic vibe and whatnot too, saying like, you know, there's mornings I wake up and it's just not there. And I found that forcing it doesn't bring out the best of my abilities. So if I wake up and it's not there, it's a wash. I'll go do something else. I'll go, you know, go for a walk or read a book or, you know, go do something else and come back the next day and my creative juices are, you know, revitalized and I'm ready to hit it again, you know, and there's a certain time of day that, you know, works for different people that they can be creative too.
Yeah. And I've always, at both companies, I've had some employees that they just didn't turn on until 11 a.m. And I'm like, that's fine. Just come in at 11, you know? I mean, if you're not doing anything, then that's a problem. But what time you come in isn't really a problem.
As long as you get the work done.
Right. Somebody asked if I'm an RPG gamer. I don't know if we're talking tabletop or digital, but I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd from the moment Dungeons and Dragons came out in the 70s.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember buying the red box with the crayons that came with it, and the really bad dice. No, I'm but not so much video games as far as RPG.
Okay, Jesse Lewis said he wants to know what the demise of Sota Toys was. Was it that quarter scale Lord of Darkness? Was that the reason?
It was a combination of so many. It was a perfect storm. It was one, and I'm going to blame myself at the end, but I'm going to point everybody else out first. One, it was my partner at that time, who was the business side, not being very good at the business side. So that was a big part of it. Just not cash flow, creating good cash flows and stuff like that. Two, David Hoy at Brighton, the factory in China, where we had most of our eggs. Three, Musicland, which included Suncoast Video. What was it? It was Suncoast Musicland. Sam Goody.
Yeah.
Went bankrupt, owing us a lot of money. Tower Records went bankrupt at the same time, owing us a lot of money.
Yeah.
And finally, I was in the middle of producing a movie, and I had funding lined up to do 2 more movies. I was taking meetings with all sorts of people like Stan Lee and all sorts of people, and my movie career was really moving. And I was like, you know what? With my partner on the business side not doing well, with the factory screwing up and all that stuff, I just kind of turned off and stopped caring all that much. And when that happened, then the whole thing unraveled, because I was, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but it's just the truth. I was kind of the glue that held it all together. Mm-hmm. And once I just kind of turned off and focused on the movie thing, it just kind of withered, because I'm sure we could have figured our way out of it, but I didn't even want to bother to try to figure my way out of it. I thought I was going to be a big shot movie producer. So that's kind of, it ultimately falls 100% on my shoulders, because I did have the ability to fix it. I just chose to, well, like we talked about earlier about Kickstarter people and stuff like that, mm-hmm. When things went really sour, I was just like, I'm just tired of it. And so then when I kind of shut off, then my partner, unbeknownst to me, went and found someone to buy the company. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know it was happening. I don't even know if Adam and the other employees knew it was happening. I didn't know it was happening.
It was weird. And he was a factory rep for a factory that we weren't really using either. Like
his parents owned that factory.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And so my partner found, it was a factory we were using a little bit. But anyway, I don't know how it happened because I wasn't involved. But one day I walked into the office, and I'm not trying to be a victim here because I have most of the blame on my shoulder. But one day I walked into the office and he said, "Hey, we have to have a talk." And I was like, "Okay." And I think I was semi hungover because at that time I was living the rock star movie producer life.
Nice.
And he said, "Here's a check." And I was like, "What's that for?" And he said, "You're selling the company." Whoa. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And this is, you were there. I mean, not in the room, but you were in the other room. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, this company's going under. You don't care anymore. I found a buyer, and I didn't know who. He wouldn't tell me who. And I said, I'll sell the company, even though I kind of did. And he was like, well, you don't really have a choice, because if we don't sell the company, it's going to be gone in 4 months. We just don't have enough money to keep going. And so I took the check and I left, and I called my friend who was my partner in the movie production company. And I was like, this just happened. And he's like, screw it. We're going to be making movies and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, screw it. And that was the end of it. And I didn't find out until, I don't know if it was weeks or months later, who the buyer was. And it was someone I never knew. I mean, it was a factory we used a little bit, but I really didn't have much interaction with them at that time. I think Jeff Howard was doing most of the interaction with that factory.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because Jed was still there, Jeff was still there, me, Renee, and Lexi. And then like I left, I think like literally like 2 months after you did to go to Gentle Giant. And I recommended as like someone to come in Beardy. So Beardy got hired. Like I never worked with Beardy at Sota. I only worked with him once he came over to Gentle Giant. But I recommended him for Sota, and then he got brought on there. So it was like Renee, Beardy, Alexi, Jed. I think Jeff was like, he didn't last very much longer afterwards either. Like he was out.
Jed was, I mean, he was kind of unhappy anyway, because he was supposed to be, he was already, I don't want to talk about him behind his back, but he was already supposed to have been doing more important stuff, and he wasn't. And I know he was already unhappy, but so I took the money and I just focused on the movie thing, and that didn't work out because I just don't have the, you know, I was complaining earlier about how like I didn't want to run designs through Capcom because I didn't want them to screw it up. Mm-hmm. Well, making movies is 1,000 times that. Like,
oh yeah, you got people standing over your back the whole time asking a million questions.
It was miserable. I mean, the first movie wasn't, and the first movie wasn't because my friend and I funded it. We self-funded it, and it was only a $500,000 movie. But then we wanted, you know, we were going to move up and do bigger movies, and so now we needed to have meetings with everybody, Sony and Miramax and whoever, and oh my God, it became. I hated every minute of it. I was like, this is miserable. Why did I sell the company? so then I just not to get into my woes, but then I basically became, as you know, I became a hermit in my house for 2 years. I almost never left. I didn't talk to anyone. Thankfully, I had enough money to do that.
We came and visited you occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every once in a while I saw someone, but very rarely. Like I hardly did anything.
So would you say
obviously?
Would you say at that time you kind of like found yourself again? Like you kind of like found out who you were all over again?
No, not then.
No,
that happened a little bit later, but it was the beginning of that. I wasn't partying. I wasn't hanging out with, you know, rock stars and dating reality stars and crap like that anymore. But you know, when I hit rock bottom, not that anyone cares about my woes. So I had a live-in personal assistant for years and years and years. And and everyone thought like we were together, but we weren't. She really was my personal assistant. Not many people have a live-in personal assistant, but I felt I needed one. Anyway, so there was no more money coming in. And I was like, so there's no more money coming in. So you can still live here, but I can't pay you anymore. You're going to have to get a job and whatever. And you don't have to pay me rent, but
yeah.
And, but she still had a credit card, and it was one I didn't pay attention to because I didn't use. And one day I realized there's like tens of thousands of dollars spent on this overdue credit card, and it was all her. And that was kind of my rock bottom when I realized that, wow, I'm really alone. Like she was the last person I thought like had my back, and she didn't. And that's when I really went into hermit mode. And then I didn't come out until Mark Mosman was like, do Street Fighter statues, do Street Fighter statues. Sideshow's blowing up. Because now everyone thinks a sideshow is this huge thing. They weren't a huge thing back then.
Right.
They were just another little independent toy company. And Mark was
asked an old friend named Adam Van Wickler to design the logo for Pop Culture Shock.
And he took it from Disney. It's so fun. So I didn't know that you were inspired by Disney until like somewhere around 2015.
It's totally original. The Pop Culture Shock Collectibles logo is 100% original. It's got all sorts of inspiration.
I love that logo. I really like that logo. And then one day somebody was like, why did you use the Disney logo? The old, I don't remember where it was from, but some old Disney logo. I was like, what are you talking about?
Right now.
I'm looking it up right now.
I will send you a link.
Hold on.
No, I had no idea. And I was never mad about it. I thought it was funny. But I did change the logo after that.
I know you did. And then it looked like a generic, it looked like Sideshow.
It was just strong font. It was with metal fitted. It was lame, but I did it myself, and I just needed something because I was like, well.
Oh, look at this. Pop Culture Shock Collectibles, playingwithmyself.com.
Yeah, do you want? Yeah, exactly. That's it. I was just about to send you that link.
It's the first thing that pops up.
It is.
Right.
It's on my website. I've done a lot of logos. Like that's one of the logos.
All right, we're going to look at this logo. Boop.
You tell me how that's a Disney logo. It's got.
Somebody showed me the Disney logo that looks just like it.
Show me.
I don't know how to show you now. I have to look up the Disney. If you want, I could try.
Yes, try.
Let's see what happens if I Google old Disney.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
Because it's not like something that was. It's not so. It wasn't like the main Disney logo. It was like something
Disney Channel.
Something related to Disney.
Ronald Ramos has my back. He says it's Toon Disney, but he does say it's completely different. It's like you and I talked about what you wanted the logo to look like.
No, I like the logo. I'm not complaining.
Toon Disney. You got to look up Toon Disney because
Okay.
it's meant to be a flashy, like that's what you wanted. Jerry and I ended up taking over packaging. I went to school for advertising. I did graphic design. Of course, I'm inspired by other stuff. It's unique. It is absolutely unique. I swear.
I'm inspired by all sorts of stuff. Well, that's why I'm not going to criticize it. I'm just saying that I had no idea, or at least my memory was I had no idea until someone showed me. And there was something that looked very, very similar, more similar than anything I'm finding on this Google search.
Yeah, same here.
It was really old.
Person probably hated me and was trying to badmouth me.
Adam Straight said, I went to school. I knew what I was doing.
All right, let me go ahead and try and find old Toon Disney.
Before we run out of time, I really want to talk about Micronauts. You guys can totally tell me
Look at Disney logos.
That's totally fine.
No,
Feel free to do that. But let's talk about Micronauts at some point too, please.
I'm ready.
You have stuff, Jerry? Awesome.
That's
Micronauts? Yeah, I got. So
let's take down the Disney stuff before we get shut down.
I don't have as much Micronauts pictures as I wish I did, but so Adam you won't be able to see anything. So my entire right arm There's Micronauts. There's Time Traveler.
Hold on. Let me get that. Let me get the camera on so everybody can see here. Hold on.
Stop searching Toon Disney logos to
Yeah.
Adam's graphic design background.
Yeah.
So what am I? So I've got, well, you can't see it, but Force Commander and Karza fighting as centaurs on my arm. I've got Time Traveler. Then up here we've got a Croyer. We've got Bug. So, we're talking about comics now.
So bad.
Here, let me see if I can full screen you here, Jerry. That way we can all see.
Microtron. Needless to say, I love Micronauts.
Correct.
Okay, can we see the arm again, please?
Okay,
there
now,
we go.
Much fatter than when I got them, so they're a bit warped.
Oh, come on.
True, though. So there's a Croyer, there's Bug. Biotron is not finished, but Microtron was finished. What do we got? We got Commander Ran. We've got Marionette. I have pants on. So we have Karza and Force Commander fighting. It wraps around, though. Prince Shaitan, Time Traveler. Shoot, what's her name? I can't remember her name now. Wow, it's terrible. She's from the Marvel comics, not the toys. As much as I love the toys, the Marvel comics is really my love. I mean, that's where my Micronauts love really stems from, because I'm pretty sure that I didn't get any Micronaut toys until I first saw the comic.
Okay.
But yeah, Micronauts is, and so it was really amazing to get the license to do new Micronauts figures. And it's really a shame it didn't, they were never released. Let's see what I have here. We were also doing a comic in conjunction. Here's the cover of the comic. Based on the designs of the toys that we were doing.
Oh, wow.
David Forrest did this.
Oh man, no one can see it. I'm like nerding out right now looking at it.
No, it's sorry,
guys. Oh, it was?
Yeah, it's up right now.
Okay. Oh.
I mean, I wanted to. So the Abrams, who owned Micronauts at that time before they sold it to Hasbro, I became friendly with them, and I really wanted to be the shepherd that made Micronauts into a big thing again, like toys and comics and movies and whatever. And I had they trusted me and believed that I had a vision for it, which I did, and I was guiding it. But the story of why Micronauts didn't come out is it's kind of tragic. So what happened is, we showed them at Toy Fair. Everybody loved them. The stores loved them. I mean, they seemed like they were going to be a hit. And then what happened is the media attention they got to Takara in Japan saw, because they were getting attention. So, when Toy Fair images were released in Japan, Takara saw them, and Takara then sued Abrams, who owned the Micronauts here in the U.S., saying that they didn't have the right to license or do this Micronaut stuff because Takara still owned them, and that the Mego rights were over, because Marty Abrams was the founder of Mego. Mego produced Micronauts in the 70s, and that's who licensed them out to me. So Takara named us Sota Toys in the lawsuit.
Ugh.
And we were already having all the problems I was discussing with factories and Tower Records going under and all this stuff. And there's no way we have money to pay lawyers to fight this lawsuit. And then the Abrams graciously said, no, we'll pay your lawyer fees. We'll cover your lawyer fees because this is wrong. Takara is wrong. We have the rights. And then my partner and I talked about it, and we just agreed with everything else going on. We just can't be dragged into this drama right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, especially against Takara.
Yeah.
So we just relinquished rights. We lost all the money we put into it, and we relinquished and we walked away. And that was a real painful one for me.
So what did you have done up until that point, Jerry? Like figures and everything to go along with this?
I don't have the pages here, but we had the entire first couple issues, I believe, of the comic done. And we had the prototypes for, let's see, I have the picture.
While he's looking, Cheney, whenever we end, you need to look up Disney Pop Century logo.
Okay. Is that the one?
Wow.
So we had prototypes for 3 figures done, which was Baron Karza, Space Glider, and Lobros. So we had our hero, we had our villain, and then we had a monster. And that's how we were going to go forward. And we had designs for a whole other series. And I had really great designers working on this. I had, apologies for my bad memory, but what's his name? Randy Queen, who he's the creator of Dark Child, the comic book from Image Comics back in the 90s. Super popular back then.
Yes.
So Randy Queen was working on designs. Sandy Calora was working on designs. Who afterwards he created the short film Batman Dead End.
Okay.
Then we had one other person working on designs, and I can't remember who, and I apologize to you, whoever you are. And then we all jumped in on the sculpting and everything, and Karza's waist looks weird here, but that's because he's turned.
What size were these?
What?
What size were these?
Well, here's the thing. We took the 2 prototypes. Originally, we were going to do them 7 inches, and we took the prototypes, or 6 inches, and we took the prototypes to New York Toy Fair. But then a lot of people were saying, no, you got to do these at 3 3/4 inches. And so we hadn't actually decided what size to do them when the Takara lawsuit hit. I was leaning smaller because then we could do vehicles. And my dream, and I've never been able to do it, my dream has always been to do figures that can have vehicles, because I just love. So when I was a kid, I was completely fascinated by my Battlestar Galactica vehicles that had the small figures that fit in them. And the Cylon Raider and the Viper and the other ones. And the figures were only like, I don't know, 2 inches tall, maybe. So I've always wanted to do figures that could have vehicles. So I was leaning towards going smaller, but it was not decided. So I've got a bunch of pictures here. Oh, this is maybe better because it's got all views. But there was a lot of really cool swap out accessories on these. So we really wanted to take the whole idea of them being interchangeable, because it was called the interchangeable world of the Micronauts back in the 70s. I wanted them to be interchangeable. So we were using a standard size pin on everything. So if you really wanted to put if you wanted to pull Karza's arms out and put another character's arms in his sockets, you could. Yeah. Wow. So that's Karza. I'll pull some other ones up.
What a
Space
shame,
Glider came out really good.
So here it was. These were like what you have here, ready to go and everything. And then Takara wants to sue. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh wow.
And then you had to pull out.
Yeah, and
So do you still have some of these?
no, I wish I did. My guess is they probably don't even exist, because I think if they did by now, I would have heard about it, or somebody would have tried to sell them, and I would have heard about it or something. But because when someone was selling castings of the 2-ups from Now Playing, I heard about it within hours. Somebody saw it and called me, and so. But yeah, no, Micronauts. And I love that they had the wings, and we were going to spring load them, and I mean, they were going to be toys, you know, but still looking high end, but toys.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wow. So we're at about 20 minutes over time here, Jerry. How are you on time, sir?
I'm all right.
You're all right? Okay.
I'm just looking. Wait, that's the same one, isn't it? So here's the back of Space Glide.
My biggest problem is that Ambush Bug is such a weird one because of being a Marvel created character, but it's he's the one that I want an action figure of so bad, but because of the weird Micronauts / Marvel comic book thing, it's no one has the rights to Ambush Bug at all.
Look at the glutes on that thing.
Yeah. So that Disney Pop Century Resort logo, that's the one, right?
Oh, thanks. Now we're gonna go back to discrediting Adam. Pull them up side by side and tell me that they're not different. They're different. Yes, absolutely. There's similarities, but they're totally different.
What's it called again, Ernie?
He just said a Disney Pop Century logo.
It's a resort logo at Disney, and it's got super similar stuff. It's got pop and a balloon.
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay.
It looks different. Put them side by side.
I'm with Adam.
If you put them side by side, those logos are different.
Wow. Look at that. Wow. That's
Adam, I'm on your side 100%, Adam.
Interesting.
Boo.
Here's Lobros. So like the original Lobros toy from the 70s, his that one not work?
Yeah, no, hold on.
That has the most detail that I've ever seen. Honestly, Lobros is one that looks like a combo of the Lovecraft toys with the Street Fighter toys articulation. Honestly, I remember that prototype was just around the studio for the longest time, and it's literally that's what it looked like. It was a baby of the Lovecraft and Street Fighter mixed together.
This was, I believe, Alexi's baby, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
And wow. I mean, this thing, he knocked it out of the park. This thing really needed to be a toy. We were talking earlier about if I'll ever do toys again. And that's another thing I'd like to do is I'd basically just like to rip off my own line of Micronauts toys and redo these.
That's funny. I was going to ask you that exact question. Is there any way?
A little bit so that, Hasbro doesn't sue me.
Yeah.
And I'd even create kind of homage graphics for it. I don't want to pass them off as Micronauts, but they're an homage.
But the people that are really into Micronauts and know Micronauts will be like, oh yeah, no, we're in on this. Right.
Well, now that I'll have a small little workshop as of January. So, and with 3D printers and everything I'll need. So I might get to work on that again. I definitely follow what we were doing with Micronauts. But
I like that you're
shoot, I don't know where the design. I don't think I have the design here.
Micronauts
So
a little
Lobros.
bit.
What?
I said I like that you're okay with like, oh, I'm gonna do my own take on Micronauts, change them up a little bit, but you're not okay with my logo.
I'm okay with your logo. I love that logo. That logo perfectly said what I wanted it to say when I had you do it. It was fun. It was like, I love that logo.
Okay, here's the new Jerry line of the redesign of Micronauts, and we'll use that old school Adam logo as the background. Right? Problem solved.
I love
Problem
that.
solved.
Yeah.
Right.
So Lobros here, we didn't sculpt it, but we designed it. He comes apart at the waist, and then he's got this four-legged crustacean body that his torso plugs into. So he's like a centaur thing.
That's awesome.
So that's the kind of stuff I want to do.
Are you sure?
I'm very inspired by Spy Monkey and stuff and what you guys are doing. I mean, there's so many cool indie toys right now.
Are you sure that we didn't do the multi-legged thing for him?
I'm not sure of anything.
It's like I feel like
really not.
I remember seeing some. It might have been just like a custom. Like Alexi having us pour up multiple copies of legs or something. But like I feel
it definitely could have been started. I just don't. I know it was never painted and finished, or we would have photographed it.
Right. Yeah.
But I know I can visualize the design. So I remember that. Oh, that's who the other designer was. No, I said Sandy Calora. Yeah, I still don't remember who the third designer was. So that's Micronauts. I really don't have a lot of images for Micronauts. Yeah, but somebody said Micronauts Evolution, so they remembered it. Wow, that's a good memory. I don't.
We got a generous super chat from Winger Lou who says, "Can I copy your homework? Sure, but just change it a little."
Go, Winger Lou's. We used to be friends.
This one's gonna haunt you for a while, I think.
I'm totally willing to put them side by side. Absolutely, do they have similarities? Yes, but they are both different. Like they are different.
They're way different. I can see it. I'm on Adam's side.
I want to find out when that Disney resort made their logo.
It's a legitimate homage. It was fine by me. It worked. It was great. I liked it.
I just love it because we can just razz Adam about it for weeks.
Oh, thanks. Another thing to get on me about.
So here's what we still have left if you want to talk about any of it. There's the Sota Warcraft, there's the Tomb Raider, there's the Snoop Dogg. Don't forget Snoop Dogg. There's
I remember that.
Riddick.
Don't forget Fallout Boy.
I'll get there. There's Riddick. There's Now Playing. There's Lovecraft. We did Land of the Dead, Johnny Cash. ICP. I know everybody wants to hear about the ICP.
ICP. It's so funny because I remember working on the packaging for all of these, which apparently I probably ripped off from other people.
My gosh.
Don't forget Charmed. Actually, that second line of Charmed figures were really kick-ass.
Dude, the Charmed Gladiator guy is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, those are fantastic figures. I had almost nothing to do with them. So
yeah, Punker Mike said Sota Toxie is still on his hit list.
The Toxic Avenger?
Yes.
I sculpted that one. I felt I had to since I did the Toxic Avenger for the movie.
Yeah. Kind of makes sense.
So I don't have a group shot of them. I only have the individuals, but this is the figure Adam was just talking about. This was a really cool figure, regardless of whether it was from Charmed or not. It was just a great army builder if you're into that kind of thing.
I remember I stuck all sorts of helmets on it and dude, I was loving that figure.
And this was from the Charm figures, right?
Yep. So this was the second wave. The first wave was them in their normal everyday clothes.
Right.
And we were like, well, if we're going to do a second wave, we got to do something fun. So let's do this one where they ended up in this kind of medieval world.
Did you guys do the Pamela Anderson ones too from her show?
Wait, say that again, because your volume just got really low.
The Pamela Anderson ones?
Pam Anderson ones.
Her TV show? What was her TV show? There was three figures out from there too.
No, I think Hugo Stevenson did those. But I don't think we sculpted those.
VIP.
We sculpted
VIP, yes.
Stevenson, we sculpted the Alias figures, though, didn't we?
Yes, definitely. I have pictures of those right here, actually. I didn't even get into the stuff we sculpted. I mean, that
can go on and on and on.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Before we even started the stream, you showed the Palisades Army of Darkness 3 3/4 inch figures that I think still hold up all these years later. And they were great 3 3/4 inch figures.
Here's a couple of the Alias figures we did.
I loved those because they were super articulated, suited bodies,
right?
Like years before anything else.
Yeah.
Dang. And now this was for another company though, right?
SEG Toys.
Right.
Yeah. We did almost everything I think SEG did. I think the only time we didn't sculpt a line for them was when we were just too busy. Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole folder here of AFI, the band AFI, Alias, The Clash, the band Green Day, House of a Thousand Corpses, Happy Tree Friends, Less Than Jake, Metallica, Pink Floyd.
Wow.
And there's more stuff here that isn't labeled, but yeah, no, we did a ton of stuff for Hugo in that company. I still talk to Hugo all the time. He calls me just to chit chat. So let's see. So, but as far as Sota, what folder do you want me to open?
Adam, what do you want to go through? Ernie, what do you want to go through?
I mean, like,
nah, you go ahead.
I would love to see more Palisades stuff personally, because it's like that's some of my favorite. And like Jerry, I don't know if you have it or not, but I think that there was like not only like the Army of Darkness line was like one that came out that I loved, but wasn't there Terminator stuff too?
He did,
and those didn't come out.
They did not come out, and I've not found pictures of them yet. I was going through the files, but I can tell you that it was one of the hardest jobs we ever did, and I was not happy with it because it was like, I think it was 18 figures in like a month or something like that. It was something so ridiculous that even, you know, as close as I was to everyone at Palisades, I was like, okay, we'll do our best, but I don't know what's going to happen. And they were not good. They were done, but they had to make toy.
You're unkind, or I'm remembering very fondly. One or the other.
We could look at a lot more of Alyssa Milano. Do you have a lot of her? And he's sculpted there. We got a generous super chat from Ronald Ramos. His wife would like to see, did you have any of the AFI picks?
Sure.
Oh, just scored for Ronald Ramos.
Yeah.
Shady, no more Street Fighter stuff? No more Legends or anything that you got to see?
Man, like, honestly, like I would love to delve into the pop culture shock stuff a little bit, but we really don't have time. We're running low on time here.
We may need to come back for a third episode.
That's all up to Jerry if he would be willing to do it for a third
Absolutely.
Give me
It would likely have to be Jerry. Don't worry, you'd get a break because it would be after the holidays, most
Yeah,
likely.
it would be.
Oh
Probably,
yeah.
I'll be in the new place, so it'll be easier.
Oh, we're already getting requests in the chat for
Yeah,
part
5.
Oh, this is their
I
little
did not
mascot
do Chitty
things.
Chitty Bang Bang.
This was from
Blake Wright.
Yeah, this was from the Art of Drowning album, I believe, if I can remember correctly, because this is before they hit mainstream, really.
Hugo, let me tell you something about Hugo Stevenson. He has a magical ability to know what band is going to become big before they become big. Time and time again, his big start was most people don't even know who he is, but he's way more successful than me. His big start was he signed a license to do NSYNC toys before their album released.
Oh wow!
No. Oh wow.
He's done it over and over, like time and time again. He has this ability.
Yeah, because these right here, these were the little characters or whatnot. They were in the album artwork for Art of Drowning, and Art of Drowning was the record before they signed to a major.
Yeah, I mean, he would bring us these bands, and we thought at first he was nuts.
Yeah,
and they were everything he did was a hit. It was crazy. Yeah, but it was always fun to do Hugo stuff. I didn't really have a lot to do with it. I think Bill Mancuso sculpted most of it. Bill, I don't haven't talked to him in a long time, so when I say was, he probably still is very, very good at this kind of cartoony stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would give him most of the cartoony stuff to do. He would knock it out of the park. Now I'll feel stupid if he didn't do these, but I think he did, because later on, after I sold Sota, Bill continued to sculpt for Hugo when I was in my hermit stage.
Gotcha.
Was there another request?
Did you have Slipknot?
We did not do Slipknot. I don't remember Slipknot. Did Hugo do Slipknot? I don't remember Hugo doing Slipknot.
I think there was someone in the chat that asked for that.
Right, that was Jurassic Jesse.
Okay.
The Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop was mine, not Hugo's, but here. Sadly, I don't have any high-res images, but I do have a story about Snoop.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, I sculpted that. I sculpted that in like a weekend. It was like just one of those things that had to be done. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be faster for me to do it because I know exactly what this needs to look like.
Uh-huh.
And I sculpted it. We sent pictures to Snoop, and he had 0 changes.
Oh, nice.
You want to hear my Snoop story?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Snoop insisted on being paid in cash under the table. There was no documentation. There was no contract with him. It was all a handshake, a verbal deal. And so every quarter, I would drive down to Beverly Hills and meet at this little cafe that was right by his office. And so I'd go into the cafe, I'd sit down, and then he and his bodyguard would come in and they'd sit across from me. We'd chat for maybe 5 minutes. I'd hand his bodyguard. I could never hand him the money. I'd hand his bodyguard the money. His bodyguard would go out to a waiting car and leave. That's how every transaction with Snoop went.
So Snoop went with him, or his bodyguard just left?
No, his bodyguard left, and then he would go back to his office.
Oh, he would just walk off to the... Wow. That's crazy.
Super nice guy.
Every time I hear a story about someone who's interacted with him, they always say that he's super nice.
Yeah, you would never in a million years ever like if you didn't know the history, you'd never associate him with a gangster lifestyle or anything like that. He is so mellow and just like living. Not that I got to know him super well, but what I gathered from the few times we did this was he's just like a cool live and let live guy.
Yeah. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that they had a family member that lived next door to him, and that the same thing that you had said. They said when you met him, like you never would have thought that he was, the celebrity Snoop Dogg. You just thought he was just some super chill dude.
Yep. We sold so many of these figures. Like people think about
I remember seeing these everywhere.
People think about Street Fighter and now playing, and yeah, those are profitable, but the real profit from Sota, it was Fall Out Boy, it was Snoop, it was ICP, it was stuff like that. That's where you look at a figure like this that sold for $20 at Hot Topic. Hot Topic sold like 60,000 of them, and they cost us like $1.20 to make.
Yeah, because they're the
key. Like everyone needs to be depressed about that because it's all stuff without articulation.
Well,
they're just vinyl. I mean, there's like nothing to this figure.
It's the perfect desk accessory. You put it on your desk, and that's what it is. Or you put it on your desk at work or whatever. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean that's why pops are so huge.
Yeah.
They're the perfect little desk accessory.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to bring this to
part 3 in January once Jerry's in his new spot. I want to see toys set up.
Well, then we're gonna have to do it later in January because it's gonna take me some time to set up.
We could do late January.
There are a few other Sota things that I would like to talk about personally.
Okay.
And then Pop Culture Shock you have to talk about. And then hopefully later in January, maybe you can talk about what you've got going on now.
Probably not by then. Well, it takes so long to get things, prototypes done and stuff that I just don't. I don't want to announce anything like a year before it's ready or 6 months before it's ready. I don't think so. But there is a lot of stuff going on right now, like a ton of stuff.
Well, that's good to hear.
None of it's action figures, so I'm not sure how interested your guys are going to be.
I still think we're interested. I want to once again give, a huge thank you for hopping on with us again, answering my questions, letting me geek out as much as I did. This has been just awesome, man. I can't thank you enough. If you want, maybe we can schedule for like the 28th of January.
Oh gosh, don't ask me for a date this soon. Let's make sure that where we're moving to doesn't have like a giant leak or something like that first. But
okay, well,
let's circle back. Let's talk about it right after the holidays.
Sounds good. Yeah,
but it'll happen. This is fun. I enjoy
Part
it.
Part 3 to be determined.
Okay,
we ramble off so often that we don't get very far. Here, how about this? I'm going to show you something. Here, let's do one more image.
Okay.
I'm just going to take an image of my folders. So you can see all the different topics that could be discussed, although they're probably going to be so small you can't read them, huh?
We'll see.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
See it.
Oh, I can read them.
Right.
These are the folders I've gone through so far.
Wow. Enter the Dragon. Oh.
I totally forgot that you worked on the 10th figures. I really liked those.
Oh, yeah, those were
Dude.
awesome.
As I go through photos, I've forgotten most of the stuff. I'm like, oh wow, I forgot about that.
I forgot about the 10th stuff. Yeah.
The 10th, like those were like, I remember, like I didn't even know, I knew of the comic, but like I didn't like really know it. And those were some awesome toys just because like I thought they looked so great. It's just hot chicks and creatures, like
Yeah, big
awesome.
crazy creatures. Yeah.
That was Resource.
Yeah, I remember those.
Great
House of the
company.
Dead. Galaxy Quest? There's figures for Galaxy Quest?
Oh yeah, and there's one that most people don't. I did figures for Chicken Run too. That people are like, what, Chicken Run?
Did you do a Shona figure for Enter the Dragon?
Say that again.
Oh no, I'm thinking what you would call it.
Yeah, you're thinking of
Ronald Ramos in chat just asked if we can make Jerry a full-time toy amigo. Can you just be on
Whatever he wants to come on.
he's more than welcome to. I'll put that out there. And if you're just like, hey, it's Thursday night, I don't have anything better to do. Let me see what those guys are doing. You're more than welcome.
We could have spent the whole night talking about the Marvel announcements.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, the Marvel and Star Wars stuff, man. Whew.
But I just wanted to show you that list of folders, and there's still plenty for me to go through. But as I go through them, I create a new folder, and that's what I've got so far.
Nice.
And then, like, some of them, like the SEG Toys one, you open that, and then there's the 10 folders of all the different SEG things, AFI and House of a Thousand Corpses and all that. So each folder also has, not everyone, but some of them have multiple folders within. And yeah, there's so much to go through.
Man.
Well, I appreciate that you guys are interested in hearing my stories.
Yeah, no, this has honestly been a treat, man. This has been so much fun. But I can't thank you enough, and Adam, I can't thank you enough either. This has been super awesome, man.
Well, thank you guys. I guess it's time to go to bed.
Action Figure Expert says, Jerry, did you work on a lot of the Resource figures?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. Probably, I don't know. Would I be exaggerating if I said 50%? But I mean, I had my hands in almost every line. I mean, let's look. We've got Castlevania, Duke Nukem, Final Fantasy. Galaxy Quest was Palisades, or was Galaxy Quest? Galaxy Quest was Palisades. Gex, Jingle Bell, Magic the Gathering, Quake, Ryoko. I forget what anime that's from, but that was Resource. Space Channel 5. Was that Palisades or Resource? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I think it was Resource.
I'm not sure if that was Resource or not. The 10th was Resource. Trigun was, I'm pretty sure Trigun was Resource.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, where can we keep up with you at, sir?
You can't really. I'm not doing enough to. I'm not doing anything I can talk about.
And a Facebook presence.
But the only thing I post on Instagram is I'm working on this werewolf mask.
But that's cool.
Yeah, people want to know. People want to see it.
Every so often I post something on Instagram for the werewolf mask, but that's about it.
You did the Morbius mask as well on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's like once a month, maybe I make a post. It's not like, I mean, it's great if people want to follow me. I love it, but I don't know that it's that interesting.
It's on Instagram. It's Jerry Macaluso art, and then you could just look up Jerry Macaluso on Facebook. He posts on Facebook all the time, but he's only going to try to rile you up about politics or whatever on there.
No, I stopped the politics after the election. I'm just tired of it.
Fair enough. I barely Facebook in general. I Instagram. Instagram is pictures. It's way more fun.
It's a lot more fun there.
I'm in the middle of nowhere with no local friends. So pretty much the internet is the only way I interface with other human beings other than Carolyn. So that's why I'm on it so much.
Well, yay, we're all here.
See?
And then last month you're on a super awesome podcast, so
I was.
Yeah.
I it's so funny because I use Instagram so little. I forgot to post, and I forget which of you were like, post the damn link in the bio. But I knew
that was probably Adam.
Right, I was gonna say that's definitely Adam.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'll become more active on Instagram once I can start to talk about what we're doing, what I'm doing. It's only me, so.
Cool. Jerry, I'm just going to give you a little Instagram tip. If you post even a portion of the pictures that you showed tonight, people would love it.
Yeah, I try not to make it a retro page, though.
I hear you.
But yeah.
That's what Throwback Thursday is for.
There you go. I should do it more. But all right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
On, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very, very much. We greatly appreciate it.
Have a good night, and we'll talk pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Happy holidays. We will talk about episode 3 coming up after the holidays.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe you can teach me how to do a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh.
All right. We can talk.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Ernie, take us home.
All right, chat amigos, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. Again, something different for you guys to get background on where this stuff comes from, how much we hear enjoying Adam's stories, and then Adam brings people into our world like that to just blow our minds and let other creators like yourselves know like what it's all about, or steps you need to go through and everything, or just what me and Cheney grew up with collecting through our day to get to this point. Really blows our mind as far as, what there is today and how it's available. And then all you new collectors that are in it too. It's always great to know where stuff comes from. So remember, if you're just joining us tonight, there is part 1 that's out there. And as you saw, we'll try and come back with a part 3. So remember to check us out. Quickie Minis, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, here Thursday nights at 8 p.m. now. 8 p.m. Let me get that correct. 8 p.m. for, our regular podcast show that goes 2 hours, sometimes longer. We appreciate you guys being here tonight. Remember to share. We are the Toy Migos. You can follow us everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget our private Facebook page. There's also a Discord now where the Chat Migos, everything that you saw going on tonight continues on in both of those. Stronger in the Discord and more info and other talk on the Facebook. So be sure and check that out, please. Don't forget to follow Cheney 180, The Fallen Fett, 80s Baby, Sergeant Bananas, Playing With Myself, along with Mortal Ruin and The Cursed Dead. And remember, the best thing you can do for us, guys, is share. Please, we appreciate it. And we will see you guys soon. We hope everybody has a great weekend. Again, go back to listen to 1. This was 2, and 3 will be on its way.
All right. With that being said, I am Cheney 180.
I'm The Fallen Fett.
And I'm playing with myself.
And remember, guys, they're not dolls.